All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the graduation and awards ceremony of Airman Leadership School Class 20-7. I'm Senior Master Sergeant Zach McKinney, and on behalf of the 2nd Bomb Wing Commander, the graduating class, and Airman Leadership School staff, we extend a warm welcome to all of you. At this time, we would like to introduce our guest. First, our host and commander, 2nd Bomb Wing, Colonel Mark Dimitroshin. This afternoon's guest speaker, Chief Enlisted Manager, Manpower and Organization Division, Directorate of Manpower, Personnel and Services, Headquarters, Air Force Global Strike Command, Chief Master Sergeant Michael Collins. Command Chief, 8th Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant Melvina Smith. And Command Chief, 2nd Bomb Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Brent Chaddock. We also welcome and salute the leadership and service of all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, and supervisors who have made this graduation possible. And now we recognize a very special group with us today. Throughout our nation's history, military families have also sacrificed for the cause of freedom. We would like to personally thank all of the spouses and family members who supported their students through this arduous journey. The last group of individuals we would like to recognize, and the reason we are here this afternoon, it is my pleasure to recognize your future Air Force leaders, Airman Leadership School Class 20-7 graduates. Yep. Yeah. There we go. All right, the students would now like to present a short video to commemorate their in-residence and virtual time at ALS. Thank you, students, for that presentation. It is now my honor to introduce Class 20-7's Senior Advisor and today's guest speaker. Class 20-7 Senior Advisor is the Chief Enlisted Manager, Manpower and Organization Division, Headquarters, Air Force Global Strike Command, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. He is responsible for overseeing manpower requirements, programming and resources, organizational culture, management engineering, and continuous process improvement programs. He advises Air Force Global Strike Command leaders and functional managers on manpower challenges impacting 37,000 manpower authorizations across 2 numbered air forces and 9 wings. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Master Sergeant Michael Collins.
Good, Chief. Ooh. What's going on, everybody? Make sure this is straight. I was just getting yelled at. Hey, thanks for the introduction, hero. Made me sound really important. How's everybody? Oh, you guys look great. Look at y'all. All these smiles on the faces. That's terrific. That's wonderful. First off, I want to thank Colonel Demetrician and Chief Chaddock for allowing me the honor of being the senior mentor for this Airman Leadership School class. So, sir, Chief, appreciate it. Good afternoon to all those watching virtually. Chief Smith, how you doing? Commanders, first sergeants, my fellow chiefs, and most importantly, the reason why we're all here, right? The graduates of Class 20-7. I've had the honor and privilege of getting to know you guys the last 6 weeks, and judging by the way that you've handled the difficulties of learning in a challenging and ever-changing environment, I'm really confident that the future of the Air Force is in very capable hands. I've certainly learned a lot from you, and my hope is that you've learned equally as much from one another. But what I hope you've internalized most isn't necessarily what you'll find in the ALS curriculum, right? Some of that you've learned the easy way. You guys read and applied the leadership concepts your instructors have spent countless hours discussing with you in the classroom. And some of it you're going to learn the hard way, out in your work centers, leading your airmen and teams in addition to managing programs. And at times you're going to fall short and realize that you must do better and that you must be better. Transitioning into this role into this new role isn't all about reading what's in a book, right? It's not about your weekly simulations or how well you do in your performance tasks. It's not about the awards that you win, and it's not about the scores on your summative evaluations. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying as PME won't teach you anything, right? I spent a long time doing this myself, and I'm proof that it does work. The concepts and leadership principles you find in the ALS curriculum are important and relevant, and they are effective, assuming that you apply them, right? But what I hope you learned is bigger than that. What I hope you learned is to think more critically, see things from a new and different perspective, and ultimately grown as a person. This experience, like many others, is aimed at not only giving you the skills necessary to be an effective NCO, it also cultivates an environment that's rooted in developing folks into better people. And we talked a lot about that throughout the course. Growing as a person intrinsically carries over into being a better leader in your work centers, a better NCO for your airmen, a better father, a better mother, a better brother, a better sister for your families, a better wingman, a better teammate for your peers. I say all the time that we're just people behind the uniform, and I know every single one of you have heard me say that. Based on my interactions with you, I know Class 20-7 understands that fact very well. But because this is a graduation speech, it's probably important that I have my 3 main points, right? Yeah. So I got a lot of questions over the last 6 weeks, and the theme that I gathered out of many of our conversations was what success looks like. That's a tough one, what success looks like. But if it's all right with you, I'd like to share some of my thoughts on what success looks like for me. Now notice I said for me and not to me, because we all have different perspectives. This is just mine. Over the years, as I've refined and polished my personal leadership philosophy, I found a few key things that have helped me find what I consider success along the way. First, always show a genuine care for all those around you. Second, be present and listen. And third, go out of your way to make others feel like valued members of the team. I know some of you are sitting there in your comfortable chairs with your headphones on, looking great, and you're saying to yourself, Chief, I already do all those things. Well, that's great, hero. but let me share a common everyday interaction that I had with an Air Force a senior member of the Air Force pretty recently and how it went for me. So every day, probably multiple times a day, you run into someone in the hallway, on the street, maybe you're sitting in Starbucks, and they say, hey, how you doing? And everybody knows the correct response, right? I'm good. You? A lot of the time, they'll follow up the initial statement with, so, how's the family? And then you'll get kind of the response. It's like, oh, good, good. So not long ago, I was having a bad day. I was having a hard day. It was a difficult time. And a senior member walked past me in the hallway and said, hey, Chief, how you doing? Seems pretty harmless, right? And because it was a particularly hard day, I was honest. And I actually told him exactly how I was doing and what was on my mind. I learned something about this person that day. I learned that this was not the response that people are programmed to receive. So when I told this person that it wasn't a great day, and then I went into my explanation of how I was truly feeling in great detail, might I add. Can you guess what the reaction was? They were visibly annoyed, seemingly inconvenienced at one point, right? See, they were on their way to the restroom and they weren't really prepared to have that conversation with someone who was having a rough time. In that moment, it was just a greeting that was supposed to have an appropriate program response. Well, I guess I didn't get the memo that day. I didn't follow the script. You see, words are just words, right? That's all they are. And when you ask someone how they're doing, you need to mean what you say. If you're going to take the time to ask someone how they're doing, you should genuinely care how they are. I need you to know that this person could be going through things you know nothing about. But if you care enough and see the person behind the uniform, you might be the one who not only finds out how they're really doing, but also be the one to make a difference in their life. My point is simply this: 90% of the time when you ask someone about their day or how they're feeling, you're going to get the program response. Need you to be prepared for the other 10% of the time. That other 10% of the time is when your folks truly need your counsel, your leadership, and your coaching, right, to get them through those hard times. A lot of times they won't say anything. You need to understand that there's words behind the words. So I heard a much wiser person than me once say, leadership is like a raffle ticket. You have to be present to win. And part of showing that you truly care is being present and listening. Listen with the intent to understand, not with the intent to respond. And I think we've discussed this in the class as well. You know that person that listens to one sentence and they grasp onto it, and they've already programmed a response in for that one sentence, and they're not listening to anything else. They're just waiting for you to stop talking so that they can share their opinion on what you just said. Don't be that person. So keeping with the theme, from the moment that you ask someone how they're doing, you have to be listening, actively listening. Folks have been trained by society to respond simply with, good, keep it moving. I need you to hear that sigh behind the I'm good. You need to see the nonverbals in order to understand when there's more to the story. And when you choose to be present in the moment and listen to your folks, you'll be more prepared to have those unexpected conversations in the hallway about how they're really feeling. So when you show that you genuinely care and you're present and you're listening, that combination, it inevitably leads to making those around you feel valued through the authentic conversations that it's going to drive, right? When you're vulnerable enough as a leader to open yourself up and have difficult and sometimes uncomfortable conversations with folks, not only will your relationships improve, your unit's morale will improve, and you will build stronger bonds that cultivate a culture of trust and loyalty. I had one of my old command chiefs tell me once, hey, Collins, as long as you put your heroes first, everything else has a way of working itself out. And in my humble opinion, that's what success looks like. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it will be rewarding. You never know what a simple word or a few minutes of your time can mean to someone. We all want to feel like we're valued. Sometimes we just need a little bit of help realizing it. So if you share a similar definition of success that I do, then it's very simple. Whether you choose to serve 4 years or 34 years, there's one constant. We need leaders that care. We need leaders that are present and listening. And we need leaders that go out of their way to make people feel valued. If you strive to do these 3 simple things, the possibilities are endless. Lastly, I want to take a little bit of time to recognize one of our heroes here and the impact that he's made, not only on myself, but just the base, and that's Senior Master Sergeant McKinney. I want to congratulate you, Senior, on an amazing career. And though we're going to be sad to see you go, your leadership will continue to impact the heroes of Barksdale Air Force Base, and it's evident by looking at your staff and the passion that they bring to the classroom. Job well done, Zach. We appreciate congratulations to Barksdale Air Force Base Airman Leadership School Class 20-7 for not only achieving such a huge milestone in your careers, but doing it during arguably the most difficult time in the history of the United States Air Force. Lastly, I'd like to thank the family members that have been supporting their heroes throughout their careers, and especially this journey through this time in Airman Leadership School. We honestly couldn't do it without you. So in conclusion, I'd like to refer back to some wise words of a very influential member of the United States Air Force and mentor of mine. He wrote what he coined the silver bullets for effective leadership, and silver bullet number 5 loosely states, never pass an opportunity to shut the hell up. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Had a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you guys around the installation, kicking ass and taking care of heroes. Aloha.
Cool. Thank you, Chief Collins. Chief, on behalf of Class 20-7, we would like to thank you for your time and leadership. And to show their gratitude, we would like to present you with a plaque commemorating your personalized legacy brick at the Enlisted Heritage Hall at Maxwell Air Force Base Gunter Annex. Their certificate reads, "This is to certify that a commemorative brick paver honoring you has been placed in the Enlisted Heritage Hall Plaza at Maxwell Air Force Base Gunter Annex, Alabama. This action symbolizes the respect and admiration that you have earned and is a token reflecting the highest traditions of the U.S. Air Force."
Hell yeah.
We'll get it. Got the picture?
Hey, thanks, bro.
Thanks, Chief.
Appreciate
it. All right, we have now reached the part of our program where we honor those students who have earned special recognition. While all the graduates take pride in meeting the rigorous demands of Airman Leadership School, some students have distinguished themselves through individual accomplishments, and they are deserving of special recognition. The first award is the Academic Achievement Award. This award is sponsored by the Barksdale Top 3. The Academic Achievement Award is presented to the student with the highest academic standing in all performance task assessments. The Academic Award recipient for Class 20-7 is, from the 2nd Bomb Wing, Senior Airman Jana Bushey. Woohoo! The next award is the Commandant's Award, and this award is sponsored by the First Sergeant's Council. The Commandant's Award is presented to the student who made a significant contribution to the overall success of the class. This student displayed the traits of an effective leader as well as the traits of an effective follower in a team environment. The recipient of the Commandant's Award for Class 20-7 is, from the 2nd Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Kevin Caraballo.
All right.
Woo! Dr. Ball.
One of the most coveted awards in our enlisted professional military education is the Distinguished Graduate Award. This award is sponsored by the Air Force Sergeants Association, Chapter 615. The students earning the Distinguished Graduate Award are truly leaders in every sense of the word. This award recognizes academic and leadership achievements. The accomplishments of these students place them in the top 10% of their class. The distinguished graduates for Class 20-7 are, from the 2nd Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Kevin Caraballo.
All right.
From the 2nd Bomb Wing, Senior Airman Jana Bushey. From the 2nd Civil Engineer Squadron, Senior Airman Ike Sirleaf.
All right.
And from the 2nd Civil Engineer Squadron, Senior Airman Heather Carmody.
Woohoo!
The final and most prestigious award that can be earned by a graduate at any level of enlisted professional military education is the John L. Levitou Award. The Levitou Award is sponsored by the Barksdale Chiefs Group. Airman First Class John L. Levitou received the Medal of Honor in recognition for his acts of bravery. His acts saved the lives of his aircrew and prevented the destruction of their aircraft while flying over South Vietnam on 24 February 1969. As with Airman Levitou, a true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. There can only be one John L. Levitou Award recipient for each class. This is the highest honor presented to the graduate who epitomizes the individual for whom the award was named. The John L. Levitou Award recipient for Class 20-7 is, from the 2nd Logistics Readiness Squadron, Senior Airman Jonathan Gervais.
Woohoo!
All right, Gervais, come on up.
Yes, sir. So I'd just like to take a quick second to say that I'm honored, and I'm just so glad that we got to graduate. I'd like to thank you, the Commandant. I'd like to thank Chief, everyone that was in the class. We faced a whole lot of adversity, and the fact that we got through it is amazing. And of course, the instructors, Sergeant Smith, everything that you taught me, I can't wait to go out there and apply it. So thank you so much.
All right, good job. It is now time for graduation. The graduation diploma represents 5 weeks of hard work, dedication, sacrifice, and teamwork. The graduates have proven themselves as leaders and can stand proud of their outstanding achievement. They are equipped with the knowledge and drive to lead your airmen into the future. In addition to their graduation diplomas, each student will receive their first PME ribbon and an Airman Leadership School coin. Each flight will be introduced by their instructor, and Technical Sergeant Heinrich Smith will begin by introducing Alpha Flight.
Introducing first from Alpha Flight is the class leader from the 2nd Munitions Squadron, Staff Sergeant Christiana Almont. Next is the flight leader from the 2nd Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Christopher Preslak. From the 2nd Bomb Wing, Senior Airman Jana Bushey. From the 2nd Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Hannah Capra. From the 2nd Force Support Squadron, Senior Airman Gregory Deese II. From the 2nd Security Forces Squadron, Senior Airman Lovely Dongon. From the 2nd Maintenance Group, Senior Airman Luis Garcia. From the 2nd Logistics Readiness Squadron, Senior Airman Jonathan Gervais. From the 2nd Operations Support Squadron, Senior Airman Michael Hall. From the 2nd Comptroller Squadron, Senior Airman Gabriella Olson. From the 2nd Civil Engineer Squadron, Senior Airman Clayton Rose. From the 2nd Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Darius Stevenson. From the 2nd Healthcare Operations Squadron, Senior Airman Nicholas Swift. Staff Sergeant Andrew Martin will now introduce Bravo Flight.
Introducing first from Bravo Flight is the flight leader. From the 2nd Munitions Squadron, Staff Sergeant Carlos Perez II. From the 2nd Medical Support Squadron, Senior Airman Courtney Alvey. From the 2nd Munitions Squadron, Senior Airman Brandon Blaylock. From the 2nd Civil Engineer Squadron, Senior Airman Heather Carmody. From the 2nd Security Forces Squadron, Senior Airman Luke Cunningham. From the 2nd Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Marcus Dunham. From the 2nd Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Zechariah Germenis. From the 2nd Logistics Readiness Squadron, Senior Airman James Goodrich III. From the 2nd Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman David Joswiak. From the 608 Air Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Nadia Lovejoy. From the 26th Operational Weather Squadron, Senior Airman Kirsten Manning Sanson. From the 2nd Force Support Squadron, Senior Airman Ryan Olson. From the 2nd Security Forces Squadron, Senior Airman Jeremias Smith. Master Sergeant Coffey will now introduce Charlie Flight.
Introducing first from Charlie Flight is the flight leader. From the 2nd Security Forces Squadron, Senior Airman Nick Lontock. From the 2nd Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Evan Angrella. From the 2nd Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Kevin Caraballo. From the 608th Air Operations Center, Senior Airman Marcus Fisher. From the 2nd Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Virginia Guerrero. From the 2nd Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Martin Guevara, Jr. From the 2nd Force Support Squadron, Senior Airman Liliana Horton. From the 2nd Maintenance Group, Senior Airman Sakithia McKinney. From the 2nd Medical Support Squadron, Senior Airman Nicole Montgomery. From the 2nd Logistics Readiness Squadron, Senior Airman Kenneth Szerzinski II. From the 2nd Munitions Squadron, Senior Airman Lindsay Siller. From the 2nd Civil Engineer Squadron, Senior Airman Ike Sirleaf. And from the 2nd Munitions Squadron, Senior Airman Bradley Van Sickle. Technical Sergeant Sarah Sandage will now introduce Echo Flight. Good job, Charlie.
Introducing first from Echo Flight is the flight leader. From the 2nd Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Joshua Carbajal. From the 608th Air Operations Center, Senior Airman Melissa Carlier. From the 2nd Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Devon Carter. From the 2nd Munitions Squadron, Senior Airman Dylan DeBruiker. From the 2nd Operational Medical Readiness Squadron, Senior Airman Yunji Hu. From the 2nd Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Dario Jones. From the 2nd Communications Squadron, Senior Airman Evan Coble. From the 2nd Security Forces Squadron, Senior Airman Cody Millican. From the 2nd Medical Support Squadron, Senior Airman Carla Rangel Orozco. From the 2nd Maintenance Squadron, Senior Airman Bailey Reeser. From the 2nd Operations Support Squadron, Staff Sergeant Daniel Saponis. From the 2nd Maintenance Group, Senior Airman Marshall Sutton. From the 2nd Logistics Readiness Squadron, Senior Airman Clarencia Walker. Please join me in one more round of applause for all of our graduates.
Yeah! Woohoo! Congratulations, graduates. Colonel Demetrison, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, gang. Chief and I are going to leave the camera off here because we're finding that it's eating up all of our bandwidth. And if we were to download the next season of The Mandalorian with that, it'd be probably 2024 by the time we got through. So if you just don't mind looking at the Commandant and listening to me, he can do his best kind of kung fu movie voiceover if that helps you any. First of all, congratulations to everybody. This is an absolutely tremendous accomplishment, not only for you as developing airmen and people, but more so for the Air Force to bring all these fantastic leaders on board at a time when we definitely need it. As we all know, 2020 has not been our favorite year in terms of all the years that are out there. Second, I just want to offer a tip of the hat to all the award winners. Job well done with the energy and effort that went into that, but you got there because you were pushed by your peers. So for those of you that didn't necessarily walk away with an additional certificate, your hard effort and energy is not lost. You pushed your compatriots to be the outstanding graduates that they are. From where I sit, I'm wow. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to have you develop this portion of your lethal capacity. And I'm so excited for what it is you're going to do with these new skills going back out on the line. What I do ask for you is that you need to understand you're moving from being an informal leader to a formal leader, and that your leadership needs to be overt, it needs to be obvious, it needs to be in sight, and it needs to be the example. Be a better NCO than maybe some of the NCOs that trained you. And even if you had a fantastic NCO training you, strive to be an even better NCO and build on their great. I'll offer you one quote here just before I cut loose, but this is from Lao Tzu, who's an ancient philosopher of Taoism, and it stuck with me for a number of years. A leader is best when the people barely know that they exist. When that leader's work is done and their aim is fulfilled, their subordinates say, we did it ourselves. Get your team going, set them with the right vector, resource them properly, check in from time to time, but when it comes time to claim victory, it's theirs, and stand in the background with a smile on your face. Chief and I are doing that right now. You are the best. We do want to say, if you want to study more on the Cuban Missile Crisis, we recommend Allison and Zelikow's great book, Essence of Decision, the explaining of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it'll teach you more about psychology and sociology than it will about history. But wow, what a great time to be coming back to the line. You're all absolutely fantastic. Chief and I are stoked to have you return into the ranks, and we look to see what greatness you're going to do in the future. Thanks, team, and congratulations.
Well, thank you, Colonel Demetrison. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, I present to you Barksdale's newest Airman Leadership School graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this afternoon for our graduation ceremony. Please feel free to reach out to the graduates and award winners for more congratulations. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day.